Hi, in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about teenagers and how we can make our life easier and how we communicate with our teenagers. My name is Marianna Bergsensdottir. I'm a veterinarian. I have 6 kids from the age 4 to 19. Currently I have 3 teenagers and 3 to go. Interesting. My teenagers are 1 girl and 2 boys. I'm going to mix up the sexes so you don't know which one it is when I talk about them. First things first, have you looked into the biology of the brain of a teenager? It's actually really interesting. Yeah, I'm a veterinarian and the biology fascinates me. The thing is, the front lobe, or the brain parts are not connected as it is in adults. The best example I have, for how this feels, because I was talking to my friend some years ago and she said, she was explaining she was a total idiot when she was a teenager. It was horrible. And shortly after her 18th birthday, she would just feel the front lobe connect with the rest of her brain and she was like, oh my God, I've been behaving like an idiot. And if a person can have this extreme experience with discovering this, we know it's true, and all research shows so. I have a friend that has a PhD in teaching on digital teaching. And she told me about this really, really interesting research someone had done. And it was, they took 2 groups, I think it was 8-year-olds and 14-year-olds. And they start with a test. How likely is it that you get hurt if you fall on a bike? Or if you don't use a seatbelt, and a lot of things like this. And both groups just answered randomly and, they didn't have a clue. Afterwards, they took the groups and taught them, okay, if you don't use a helmet and you fall, and it's so and so and so likely that this will happen. And then they gave them the same test. The 8-year-old, they aced. Everything was fine. They just knew this thing because they just listened. The 14-year-olds, they still didn't connect that this actually meant them. They just thought it was about, others. If I don't use helmets, that's not so dangerous. So they don't have the consequence analysis that grown-up have. And when we deal with them, it's really good to know, yeah, they're teenagers. Plus, that what happens is they get all these growth hormones. And biology says, now you're going to grow and you're going to find a mate if you look, thousands of years back. And it's actually, when I was thinking about this myself, it's good for biology, for our race, that our teenager, young adults want to dislike their parents and move away, because then humans spread all over. Knowing that just helps my brain a bit. Okay, and how to deal with this? It's good to know that, same as when we feel badly, it's the same with our teenagers. When they feel badly, they hear, see neutral faces and hear neutral voices as negative with a tone. I don't know how many times I've had this with my teens. Mom, why do you use that tone at me? I was like, I didn't. And asked someone else, did I? But the teen does hear it this way. And someone told me that it works a lot with teenagers, that many grown-ups describe the age from 13 to 16 as the worst years of their life, because the hormones are raging and you're learning all about the social interaction. It's not easy being a teen at all. And actually, it's one group of humans that are getting more burnouts. Okay, many groups, but we're talking about teenagers. Teenage girls are getting more and more burnouts. Teenage girls, this is ridiculous. And yeah, I was going to say this story later, but some years ago, my teenage girl was going through a rough time. And I had this choice to, we often have this, you have to go to school, because, basically they have to go to school, right? It's not like it's a choice. But she was feeling horrible, and I could see the signs that I had had before my burnout. She was sleeping badly, she was feeling badly, she was all the signs that show you're heading in the wrong way. So instead of just, like I've always done, for myself at least, powering through, this is going to be okay, just do it, and when it's over, and everything's going to be fine. I just paused and thought, wait a minute, this isn't wise. So I went to the doctor, she went to the doctor, I went with her, and explained the symptoms, and she actually got a sick leave from school. So it's allowed to give them a break. Also, against, it isn't many people that actually think about how hard it is to be a teenager. They're more judgmental about how it is. And now to the fun stuff. When you talk to a teen, we have had a few problems in our house. Things like the shoes downstairs, when they come in, they're just everywhere. They maybe put their jacket up, but they don't think if it's wet or not wet. And the rooms look like, an explosion, especially with one of my teens. So how do we fix behavior that we don't like? Firstly, when I hear them come in, it's not good that the first, second, or third thing I say is negative. It's like, why are you so late when, you're supposed to be here at 10 p.m.? Why is it 10:30? It's not a good start. Our teens need to look forward to come home. They need to, from childhood, to know that we listen to them. You have to listen to your small child when they want to tell you all these things that you maybe don't think is relevant. And this builds unto their teen that they know that they can trust you. But believe me, some teens, I have had, probably 2 of this, that just find out now mom is an idiot. She doesn't know anything. When you're 16, you know everything, so your parents don't know anything. And I'm not going to talk to her. But luckily, they come back after. And when it matters, I hope they come to me. So how to deal with this tidy room? I had a burnout, so I was extremely tired and I didn't have the energy to follow up on this specific problem. I just figured, I prefer having a good home life, but I have limits. And my limits are when I walk past the room and it actually stinks in the hallway because of usually socks that's piled up, and or food leftovers. There are things that's not okay. I want them to have the room tidy, but I also have a minimum standard. And the minimum standard is it doesn't stink. And you're supposed to have clean clothes, which means you have to put it in the basket and bring it up and wash them. 2 of my teens wash their clothes themselves. 1 doesn't have the focus to remember at all. So I have just decided I wash them, but sometimes I say, hey, now it's your turn. Put something in the machine and then in the dryer and fold it. So he also does some of these things. They need to learn. Oh, where was it? Yeah. At one time, we didn't have any glasses in the kitchen. It's a bit funny, actually. So we said to our 3 teens, now you have to go and get the glasses. 2 of my teens went downstairs and picked up like 2, 3, 4 glasses each. The third one, he had 26 glasses in his room. I didn't even know we had so many. And, not to count the plates and ding, 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 ding. But also this teen has more difficulty focusing than the others. 2 of my teens at least are highly sensitive and get easily overwhelmed. So just, would be practical if they're tidy to have this clean round. But, my teens, at least when he comes home, he just wants to sit and go on the computer because my brain is exploding, or sleep. He often sleeps. So, how do you do? Firstly, I'm skipping things here, maybe. The thing is, if we go to room, I usually, when it's too bad, I help him tidy so we can start on 0 and then follow up afterwards so it doesn't get so bad. And that helps when I'm in a good place. And not arguing with the teenager helps not put me in a bad place. So when it comes to arguing, we all know this argument. Something has happened and the teen just walks down the stairs full, and bangs the door, and then in the room you hear everything. The teenager is furious. And then the grown-ups usually go up and open stop banging everything, I'm going to destroy this, And the teenager, go out, this is my room. And you're like, no, actually, this is my house. I pay for it. But wind back. Okay, your teenager goes down and bangs and everything. And what can you do? Mostly you are actually really angry and hurt. But calm down, just tad. We're grown-ups, we can do this. It's possible. And open the door and say, please, I'm sad this went like this, that we are arguing, but can you please don't ruin everything even if you're angry? Because what our teenager really wants when they're banging inside the room is for us to come. And they're not asking us to come because they want us to yell at them, but because they feel bad and they need their parents and they need understanding. So it's so much better to talk to them. One of my teen rarely gets angry. One explodes used to explode all the time. We have taught him how to deal with this, and he goes up and down. And then when I'm still angry, he's just finished. Oh, why are you still angry? I'm fine. But the third one is more like it takes time to get down. It takes hours. So I never discuss the issue until after. Preferably 24 hours later or something. What happened? And I also, I want to let them know that I like them. I like my teenagers and I love them. I focus on the things they do well in the house or anywhere. Like especially one of them is really, really helpful. If he comes upstairs and see that I'm overwhelmed and everything is, everyone is running one direction, he just goes and plays with his siblings. And how many teenagers do that? I have 2 that don't do that. So I'm really, really grateful for this, and I tell him a lot. And my teenager, especially one, has, when he gets angry and explodes, and we're talking about something and arguing, I'm trying not to, but we are still arguing. He goes, when he can't explain more, he just starts attacking. He points, with everything he knows hurts, and he really knows what hurts. So I get sad and upset. And usually I just say, I'm not going to accept this. We're talking about this subject, you have to stick to it. If you can't, I'm leaving. So I go. And afterwards he usually, he's sad and upset because he didn't want to say those things. They just came out. I tell him, I also love you when you're behaving like a fool, okay? Or I might say, when you are hurting me or something. Putting labels is not good. I always try to not put labels on my kids because they're self-fulfilling. It's not good. This were actually 13 minutes. I think I have to do a follow-up because I have at least 20 more minutes with a lot of tips. Those were just small ones. So, oh yeah. Thank you for listening. If you like this, please hit subscribe and, spread the word. Let other people know about me.